We mentioned a couple expecting, and in Lake Mary, Florida, they learned that they were going to have a baby. Adelpha and Adrian Mangit were expecting, and family and friends were also excited, and so were their soon-to-be grandparents who were from another state. Were and expected making plans to visit the baby once the baby is born. But then, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic comes into the scene. Adelpha gives birth to baby Rio amid stay-at-home orders and social distancing measures. Now, how is it for this couple who has to navigate the world of parenting away from other family and friends because of these strict measures? Our correspondent from Central Florida, Melissa Potes, has this story.
In June of 2019, Adelpha May and Adrian Mangit found out that they were going to become first-time parents. Excited for this new chapter in their life, they made all the necessary preparations. But fast forward to February 2020. Nothing could prepare them for having to give birth during a pandemic. Here's their story.
Our son's name is Ryu Anario Mangit. He was born on April 3rd, and he weighed 7 pounds and 1 ounce. Found out that I was expecting back in end of June 2019. It was unexpected, actually. I was having indigestion, and and I didn't know why it won't go away. And then I took a pregnancy test, and there it was. We found out that we were having a boy because I had to get an emergency ultrasound since I had some bleeding. So they had to, check me again.
Oh, this is a funny story, actually. Because we said that we would wait to find out. It was supposed to be a surprise. We were supposed to have a gender reveal. And then she went to that appointment by herself. And then the ultrasound person was like, do you want to know what the sex is? And then she's like, I'm supposed to have a gender reveal soon. But she was like, yeah, sure. And then she tried to keep it a secret from me, but I found out.
He basically got it out of me. I was like, no, I'm not going to tell you, but he kept bugging.
She can't lie. It's horrible.
So fast forward when this whole pandemic was coming about how many months were you?
So I was about 7 months, 7 months, 32 weeks.
So at this point, how are you feeling? Because obviously you weren't expecting to give birth during the middle of a pandemic.
I was still working as a nurse, and we heard about the news. It became more serious, and I was getting more worried, and especially since I already had some complications with my pregnancy. They didn't really say anything about pregnant women and the risk of the virus. But knowing that I'm pregnant, I know that my immune system is compromised. So it was a very scary situation because my coworker, she's also pregnant, and she was coughing, and she said that her husband's coworker had a fever, and so it was just, she's right next to me, her cubicle. So it was unexpected. It was very scary. And it just made our whole situation even more challenging.
So going forward, were there any changes to your birth plan or to your doctor's visits? How did they manage that, the increased risk for you and for the other pregnant women going to the doctor's appointments?
Whenever we went to the doctor or the hospital, it was only one visitor allowed, and there's no children allowed. So they didn't want to have too many people in the hospital and the doctor's office. They had all the precautions, like if you had a fever or if your temperature was too high, or if you traveled outside of the U.S., they didn't want you to come into the office or the hospital. So they had their precautions.
They said that those pregnant individuals that were positive for COVID-19, they were not admitted into that unit for the baby and mother unit or the labor and delivery unit. They were actually in a separate building. So we asked that to make sure that no one was exposed to it. Also, they had masks. The nurses that were taking care of us, they had masks, gloves. They have to sanitize and clean their equipment for every patient that they go into. Also, the hospital only allowed one support person for the duration of the pregnancy. They didn't allow any visitors. It was no visitor guidelines.
So since coming home, what have you guys been doing to make sure that all three of you remain safe?
The good thing was unexpectedly I ended up having preterm labor contractions. So 2 weeks before they were going to induce me, so the doctor instructed me to just stay home, and so I stopped working already, and that worked out a lot because I was anxious about having the baby or me exposed to the virus before he was born. And they already gave, when I was having preterm labor contractions, they gave him some medication to help his lungs develop because of all the issues that was going on with the COVID-19 in case he was delivered preterm. So, but luckily he wasn't preterm. He was delivered at 38 weeks. And Adrian he ended up just taking the paternity leave for a month as well.
So how are you guys adjusting to parenthood now? You have him home, all of you are safe.
We're still adjusting. Because you think you figure out one day, and then the next day it's totally new day. So we're still trying to get used to the schedule. Mostly it's just the sleep, and then the constant dependence of the baby, eating, changing, going to sleep, finding out, what cry means what, trying to, give all your attention to the baby. So it's still, it's definitely just adjusting every day.
But there's pros and cons to the situation with the pandemic, because we're able to stay home, and then we're able to spend more time with our son, and also, with the pandemic, it's kind of like just spending time with him, quality family time, and just he's a good distraction with everything all the craziness that's happening around us. It's really, he's distracting us from all of those, and he's just keeping us focused on him. So that's the positive thing. Of course, the negative things about it is that our families and friends can't really, our families and friends can't really visit us, so it's tough too, because we're new parents and we were planning to have our family to help with the baby, but since with the risk involved with the COVID-19, we can't really have families and friends come visit him, so we just had with FaceTime and Zoom with our friends to see him. He was definitely born at a time that was very difficult for the whole world, because this was a global pandemic, and a lot of deaths has happened, and the highest deaths in history, in American history. But he is the light to us in this difficult time. He is our greatest blessing and our beautiful distraction during this crazy time.
While we continue to navigate our new reality, the birth of baby Ryu reminds us that life still goes on and to find something or someone that brings you joy in each new day. In Orlando, Florida, Melissa Potas, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Mahalo, Melissa, and congratulations, Adelpha and Adrian, and anyone expecting and who've given birth this past couple of months. Be safe, hang in there. Congratulations.